reigning national champions have tons of questions entering 2024. They've got a new head coach. They're going to be implementing new schemes. They've got new conference opponents. And of course, they have tons of new pieces on both sides of the ball, but none more important than the quarterback position. And that leads us to the question, who will be the starting quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines in 2024? That's what we're here to discuss today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, where we have tons of exclusive content for you to get through this offseason and then to make this college football season even better for you. We're going to have nonstop content here on the channel, nonstop content and analysis on our website. Do not miss out on that. Again, the links for everything down in the description below, as well as our mailing address to send us your team's gear to be featured in every single Gridiron Expert video. All the stuff you see back here has been sent in by you guys, the fans, the members of the GE Nation. We've got a great Michigan helmet up here, but we'd love more teams to represent our GE Nation from coast to coast. And again, all that information down in the description below for you. So Michigan, guys, I mean, they have been really just an interesting story ever since they won that national championship right at the beginning of January. You know, we kind of all knew that regardless of what happened in that national championship game against Washington, that, Jim Harbaugh was going to move on to the NFL. He ultimately did, now the head coach of the Chargers. And we knew that the Wolverines were going to lose tons of talent on both sides of the ball. But they lose their starting quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who's going to go down as a Michigan legend, one of the best quarterbacks in Michigan history, even though his stats weren't necessarily always eye-popping. You know, in 2 full years with the Wolverines, he led the team to college football playoff berths in back-to-back seasons, lost in the semifinals that first year to TCU, and then bounced back and won the national championship undefeated in his last 2023 season. He threw for over 5,700 yards, 44 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions, and added over 500 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns in those 2 full seasons as a starter. So regardless, whoever gets this job is going to have major shoes to fill. And they're going to be playing under a new head coach in Sharon Moore. They're going to have a new offensive coordinator in Kurt Campbell, who was the quarterback's coach last year. So kind of promoting from within. A brilliant move, I think, by Michigan. A brilliant move by their new coach in Moore. But they have a major decision on their hands. New coach, new coordinators, new schemes. High expectations, of course, as always, in Ann Arbor. And they've now got to narrow it down to who the starter is going to be among lots of suitors. It really is a wide-open competition between Jaden Denigal, Alex Orji, Jaden Davis, Davis Warren, and Jack Tuttle. You've got about 4 or 5 guys on there that are legitimate contenders for this quarterback job, but there's not one that really stands out more than the other. And there might not be one that really gives Michigan fans more confidence than the other. And that's obviously not a good feeling as we head into the end of spring practices and as we head in deeper into this offseason. So you look at these quarterbacks a little bit deeper and you say, based on experience, if you want to play that game, if you want to say who's been there longest, who has the most playing experience, you probably narrow that down to Jack Tuttle or Alex Orji. Tuttle, who spent the majority of his career at Indiana, is a 7th-year player. He was granted his 7th year of eligibility for this upcoming season. So he is a veteran. While he maybe doesn't have any eye-popping stats, he wasn't really phenomenal at Indiana, hasn't done much at Michigan, although he was kind of the true backup quarterback last year. Having that veteran presence, having played in meaningful games before, having played in the Big Ten for many, many years, that goes a long way. And maybe now is his opportunity to step in and take on that full starting role. He's learned a lot. He's more experienced than any other quarterback on the roster for Michigan, and that does go a long way. Alex Orji, on the other hand, he's kind of drawing comparisons to Jalen Milroe. And you go back and look at Alabama last year. They entered the offseason with quarterback questions. We didn't know who it was going to be. Remember, it was Jalen Milroe, Ty Buckner, Ty Simpson. A lot of questions there on who was going to get that job. Milroe got it, and Alabama ended up being just fine. Despite a slow start, ended up making the college football playoff where they lost in overtime to Michigan. Orji's kind of drawing similarities to him. He's very dangerous with his legs. He's got a great dual threat capability. Despite only attempting 1 pass in the last 2 years, it's his ability to extend plays and his ability to run that makes him so dangerous. And I do believe that new offensive coordinator Kurt Campbell can work very well with Alex Orji and make him a dangerous passer as well. Go outside of those 2 guys. Who else do you have? You've got Jaden Denigal. You've got Jaden Davis. You've got Davis Warren. Davis Warren, probably the guy that is the biggest long shot. Probably a guy that I don't really envision winning the starting job. Not ruling him out entirely, but probably not going to happen. You look at Jaden Denigal. He's more of a pocket passer. He's extremely accurate. Stands at 6'5". Got a great frame. The coaches have talked very highly of him in spring practices. That's going to go a long way there. And really, it's a matter of Michigan deciding what quarterback do they want. They're going to choose the best guy for the job, no doubt about it, but do you want a guy that can be mobile and dual threat and extend plays on the ground? Or do you want a guy that can't really do that but can really sling it? If that's the case, you're going to want Jaden Denigal to be your guy. Jaden Davis is a guy that I think is ultimately going to be the quarterback of the future for Michigan. Maybe not this year, but down the road, yes. Jaden Davis, a 5-star recruit out of high school, a dual threat quarterback, the number 4 ranked quarterback in his class, but very inexperienced. Hardly has any experience at the collegiate level. He's young. Not as nearly as experienced as Denigal, not as experienced as Tuttle, not as experienced as Orji. That's just the nature of the beast. He's got a lot of potential. The coaches, again, speaking very, very highly of him, and I think Michigan fans are very anxious and excited to see him in action, but they're probably not going to see that this year. He is in the running, but more than likely Michigan not going to start a quarterback with that much inexperience heading into a massive, massive season where they're trying to defend their national title. Ultimately, guys, what do we think is going to happen in Ann Arbor? I think it really goes one of two ways. I think it's a battle in my eyes between Tuttle and Orji. I think that's what it comes down to. Those are your top two. But also don't rule out the possibility that Michigan could search the transfer portal. You know, the new transfer portal window just now opened up. We've got about 2 weeks, and we're going to see a lot of shuffling around in college football. Most of the top quarterbacks on the market, of course, have found themselves a new home. But there's always a few surprises out there. Do not rule out Michigan maybe going out and trying to find someone that's more of a veteran, more so of a veteran than Jack Tuttle, or at least one that's better than Jack Tuttle, and trying to get him in there to compete for the starting job. Do I think that's going to happen? I would say probably not, but don't entirely rule it out. But if I had to pick a guy on Michigan's roster right now that I think is going to be their starter in week 1 and be the guy that's going to lead them in almost every game in 2024, I lean more towards Alex Orji. I think he's the way to go. I love the Jalen Milroe comparisons. I see a lot of Milroe in him, and that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. And, you know, their new offensive coordinator, and Kirk Gamble, he kind of came out and said, Alex Orji, of all the quarterbacks on our roster, he is number 1 in KPI. And what is KPI? It's key performance indicators. He is the top when it comes to that, out of all the quarterbacks on our roster right now. And that obviously goes a long way. That's going to go a very long way. So he's a guy that has a great frame. He's a guy that dual threat ability is something that you kind of need in this new age of college football. I think, you know, we don't really see too many true pocket passers, true gunslingers anymore. To win in this age of football, you need a quarterback that's going to be able to extend play. The quarterback that's going to be a little bit more mobile. Alex Orji is going to be that guy. So it's going to be an interesting battle. It's one we're going to closely monitor over these next few months. If I had to pick right now, picking Alex Orji to lead the Wolverines in week 1 and lead them in their national title defense. But I will say, regardless of who it is, with all the talented quarterbacks they have on their roster, the future is very, very bright in Ann Arbor. There's no doubt about that. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Leave your thoughts about the Michigan quarterback situation down in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts as we inch closer and closer to the first week of the season. We'll have tons of analysis on Michigan coming your way before that. But leave your thoughts down below. And as always, please continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share our videos, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on anything else we have coming your way right here on the channel. Become a part of our GE Nation, where college football, again, never dies. And once again, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.